Jake puts every extra dollar toward paying off his debt. Marcus has the exact same debt, but he only makes his minimum payments and puts every extra dollar into the stock market instead. One of them is following Dave Ramsey's advice to the letter. The other is following what every finance bro on the internet says is the mathematically optimal play. They both think the other one is making a huge mistake. But when you actually run the numbers over 5, 10, 20 years, the gap between them isn't what either of them expected. And honestly, Dave Ramsey might be more right than the finance bros want to admit, but for a reason he never actually talks about. Let's keep this fair. Jake and Marcus are both 28 years old. They both make $55,000 a year, and they both have the exact same debt. $22,000 in student loans at 5.5% interest, $14,000 left on a car loan at 7%, and $6,000 on a credit card at 22% interest. That's $42,000 in total debt, almost exactly the national average for non-mortgage consumer debt in America right now. After rent, groceries, insurance, minimum payments on everything, and basic life expenses, they each have $600 a month left over. Same number, same starting line. The only difference is what they do with that $600. Jake follows Dave Ramsey's baby step 2. He goes what Ramsey calls gazelle intense. He cuts everything. Every single dollar of that $600 goes straight at his debt. He starts with the smallest balance first, the credit card, then rolls into the car loan, then attacks the student loans. The debt snowball. Marcus makes his minimum payments and nothing more. His $600 goes into a low-cost S&P 500 index fund. The stock market has historically returned about 10% per year. His debt costs him 5 to 7%. Why throw extra money at cheap debt when you could be earning more in the market? And on paper? Marcus has a point. But paper has a funny way of not surviving contact with real life. Before we run the numbers, we need to clear something up. Because the internet has turned Ramsey's advice into a cartoon. Here's what his baby steps actually say. Step 2. Pay off all debt except the house using the debt snowball. Step 4. Invest 15% of your household income into retirement. Notice the order. Ramsey does not say never invest. He says pay off your consumer debt first, then invest. Step 2 comes before step 4. That's the whole strategy. Intensity first, investing second. And the debt snowball, paying off the smallest balance first regardless of interest rate, isn't about math. It's about momentum. You knock out a small win, you feel it, you keep going. Ramsey has said it himself. If people did what made mathematical sense, they wouldn't have credit card debt in the first place. Now, is that the optimal math play? Let's see. For the first 2 years, Marcus looks like a genius. He's putting his $600 a month into the market. After 24 months with compound growth, his portfolio is north of $16,000. He's watching his balance climb every time he opens his brokerage app. His debt is shrinking too, slowly. Minimum payments are chipping away at the balances month by month. His student loans are barely moving because at $250 a month in minimums, most of that is going to interest. Jake? He's eating rice and beans. He picked up a weekend side gig driving deliveries. Every dollar is going at that credit card. He killed it in about 8 months, then rolled that freed up payment into the car loan and started hammering that. After 2 years, here's the scoreboard. Marcus has a portfolio worth about $16,000. His remaining debt is roughly $34,000. Net worth, negative $18,000. Jake has zero invested. His remaining debt is around $19,000. Net worth, negative $19,000. On paper, Marcus is about $1,000 ahead. And he got there, while still going to restaurants, still living a normal life. Everyone around Jake thinks he's being extreme. And if this were the end of the story, Marcus would win. But this isn't the end of the story. Every month, Marcus invests $600 instead of paying off his credit card. He's paying roughly $110 in interest on that card alone. That's $110 a month, guaranteed no matter what the stock market does, going straight into the credit card company's pocket. He's earning 10% in the market on $600 a month while paying 22% on a $6,000 balance. That's not optimizing, that's subsidizing Visa's quarterly earnings. Marcus's blended interest rate across all 3 debts is roughly 9 to 10%. After you account for taxes on his investment gains in a taxable brokerage account, his real after-tax return is closer to 7 or 8%. The spread between what his debt is costing him and what his investments are earning him is razor thin. And on the credit card, it's deeply negative. Now, here's the one place Marcus does have a genuine point. If his employer offers a 401k match, say 50% up to 6% of his salary, that's an instant 50% return on his money. That beats paying down any debt at any interest rate. Even Ramsey's team has acknowledged this. The match is the one exception where the math is so overwhelmingly in Marcus's favor that behavior doesn't matter. But Marcus isn't just capturing the match. He's investing his entire $600 surplus into a taxable brokerage account while carrying a credit card at 22%. That's not optimization. That's overconfidence dressed up in a spreadsheet. And there's one more thing the spreadsheet hides. Marcus's minimum payments are mostly servicing interest, not reducing principal. He's running on a treadmill. Jake is sprinting toward a finish line, and he's about to cross it. 34 months in, Jake makes his last debt payment. $42,000 of debt, eliminated in under 3 years. Jake opens his banking app and sees his entire paycheck with nowhere it has to go except where he decides to send it. No minimum payments, no interest charges, no juggling due dates. From this point forward, Jake has his original $600 a month in surplus plus all the money that was going toward minimum payments, roughly $850 a month. That's $1,450 a month, completely freed up. He builds an emergency fund in 4 months, then starts investing 15% of his income into his 401k, the rest into a brokerage account. Total monthly investment, about $1,400. Marcus? Still making minimums, still investing his $600. His portfolio has grown, but he's still carrying over $30,000 in debt. His credit card is still bleeding him at 22%. His car loan has 2 years left. His student loans have 6 or 7 years left. Marcus has more money in the market. But Marcus also has a monthly obligation to 3 different lenders that limits every financial decision he makes. And from here, every single month that passes makes Jake's position stronger. Let's run this all the way out. Jake's path. Months 1 through 34, 0 investing, all in on debt. Months 35 through 40, building emergency fund. Month 41 onward, investing $1,400 a month in low-cost index funds. That's 80 months of investing. At a 10% average annual return, Jake's portfolio at the end of year 10 is worth approximately $165,000 to $175,000. 0 debt. Car paid off. 6-month emergency fund in a high-yield savings account. Marcus's path. Months 1 through 120, investing $600 a month while making minimum payments. His credit card is paid off around month 40. Car loan finishes around month 60. Student loans done around month 96. After each debt is cleared, he rolls the freed-up minimum into investments, from $600 to $750 to $1,050 to $1,300. His portfolio at the end of year 10 is worth approximately $140,000 to $155,000. Marcus invested for all 10 years. Jake invested for less than 7. And Jake is ahead. 2 reasons. First, Jake paid dramatically less in total. Interest. By killing his debt in 34 months instead of letting it ride for 8 to 10 years, Jake saved roughly $12,000 to $18,000 in interest. Money that went into investments instead of into lenders' pockets. Second, Jake's monthly investment amount was significantly larger once he was debt-free. $1,400 a month compounds much faster than $600 a month, even with a head start. But this scenario assumed something about Marcus that almost never holds true in real life. It assumed Marcus was perfect. Everything I just showed you assumed Marcus invested $600 every single month for 10 years. Never missed a month. Never panicked during a crash. Never pulled money out for a car repair. Never sold during a downturn because the headlines scared him. In real life, almost nobody does this. JP Morgan ran a study tracking actual investor behavior over a 20-year period. The S&P 500 returned about 10% annually during that stretch. The average investor? They earned roughly 3%. Not 10. Not 8. 3%. Because they bought high, sold low, skipped months, withdrew early, chased trends, and made emotional decisions at the worst possible times. That gap between the market's return and the investor's return is the entire argument. Marcus's plan only works if Marcus behaves like a robot for a decade. And Marcus isn't a robot. Marcus is a human being with a credit card balance, a car payment, and a stock portfolio that just dropped 25% in a single quarter. Marcus is going to feel something. And when he does, he's going to do something. And that something is almost always the wrong thing. Jake's plan doesn't require discipline during a stock market crash. Jake doesn't have a stock portfolio during years 1 through 3. He can't panic sell something he doesn't own. Every dollar he puts toward debt disappears into principal reduction, permanently. It works whether the market is up 20% or down 30%. Ramsey's plan is psychologically bulletproof. Marcus's plan requires Marcus to be psychologically perfect. And that's the reason Dave Ramsey is right that he never talks about. He frames it as a moral argument. The borrower is slave to the lender. His critics respond with math. But the real reason his approach works isn't moral and it isn't mathematical. It's behavioral. It works because it removes the single biggest threat to your financial future, which isn't interest rates or market returns. It's you. If your employer offers a 401k match, take it. Period. A 50% match on the first 6% of your salary is free money. Capture the match, then go gazelle intense on the debt with everything else. If all of your debt is low interest, below 5 or 6%, the math for investing gets genuinely compelling. A 4% student loan versus a 10% average market return is a wide spread. The lower your interest rate, the stronger the case for investing through it. Here's the honest truth about interest rates. There's a tipping point. Above 7 or 8%, kill the debt. Below 5%, the investing argument is strong. Between 5 and 7% is the gray zone where it depends on your discipline, your tax situation, and your ability to stay the course for a decade without flinching. But here's the question. Nobody asks themselves honestly enough. Are you actually going to invest that money? Not do you plan to. Are you actually going to set up automatic transfers, invest every single month, never touch it, never sell it for 10 years? Because if the answer is anything less than absolutely no matter what happens, Ramsey's path is safer. Not because the math says so, because your behavior says so. Jake and Marcus both started with $42,000 in debt and $600 a month in surplus. Jake attacked his debt like his hair was on fire and didn't invest a dime for 3 years. Marcus played the long game, invested from day one, and let the math work in his favor. After 10 years, Jake, who invested for less than 7 of those years, has a larger net worth than Marcus. Not because he's smarter, not because he's luckier, but because he paid less in interest, invested more per month once he was free, and never had to make a single emotional decision about his portfolio during a downturn. The real trap isn't paying off debt first, and it isn't investing through it. The real trap is making a $42,000 decision based on a half-understood rule of thumb you heard on a podcast, without ever running your own numbers with your own interest rates, your own tax bracket, and your own honest assessment of how disciplined you actually are. Because the best financial plan isn't the one that wins on a spreadsheet. It's the one you'll actually finish. And if you're thinking about skipping the car loan entirely and just paying cash for your next car, that's a completely different conversation. And the answer might surprise you. But for now, the next time someone tells you that paying off debt early is leaving money on the table, ask yourself one question. Would you actually put that money on the table, or would you just spend it? Because that's the only honest answer that matters.